Hello. Welcome to my channel. If you are here from the blog post, welcome. I wish you would consider subscribing if you're brand new and you're here from YouTube. I also would love for you to subscribe as well. My name is Amber. I am a bookkeeper for service-based entrepreneurs, and I have recorded this now several times, and hopefully this one will be the magic one. And I can move on to something else. We are going to talk about budgeting, and in particular, budgeting for the life you want and also the life you have currently. Even more so, we're going to talk about what it looks like when you own more than one business, because I own two. I own a wellness company, and I also / yoga studio. And I also own a consulting and bookkeeping business. And so welcome. And if that is something that is interesting to you and you want to follow along as I figure out how to do this for myself, I would love to have you join me. All right. I have about a gajillion videos on budgets. This is probably the most comprehensive one that I have ever made. It is going to be short, sweet, and to the point because I tend to ramble. I am going to show you everything that I have got going on and how I do my calculations. Am I the best at this? Probably not, as far as that goes. Simply because what makes sense for my neurodiverse brain may or may not make sense to you. And I have a lot of figures and a lot of calculations on this spreadsheet, but it makes a lot of sense to me. So when you do yours, you could make it very simple. If you only have one business, it's going to be even simpler. However, I spent the time to figure out exactly how much I'm driving, so that based on mileage, so that I know what percentage of my total drive time week to week is spent in each business. I also spent the time researching how much the maintenance is on my car. Everything from tires to, and this was just things that I needed to know anyway, because I need new tires and probably need a brake job. But also I looked at everything else and thought, okay, if I had to pay for all of this stuff in a year, 1 year, what would it look like? And then I divided that by 2. So that basically I have the maintenance, all the maintenance taken care of within 2 years, and I don't ever have to worry about being able to pay for something or not. Trying to think if there's anything else. One mistake I made when I initially did a budget the first time is that I had business budgets over here and I had my office is in our home. So I calculated based on the square footage, how much room, what percentage of our home is my office. So I measured my office and then I added just a little bit, because obviously if I had an office outside the house, I would have a bathroom. So I took part of the bathroom, and then that's about it. And that's what I have in here. And then I divided it by the total square footage of our house, and I got the percentage of my office that I would be able to write, or the percentage of my mortgage I would be able to write off on my taxes, and how much I needed to pay from my business account. And same thing with the cars, with the car expenses. And I'll show you everything else once we get in there, because there might be more. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. And I'm just going to go ahead and share this one. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to share this whole thing because I realized that that was a problem I ran into before. So let me show you my home budget first. I've got my healthcare on a whole nother page because there's a lot there. I do have to take a lot of supplements and things like that. So what I did is I basically totaled out everything for the house, for entertainment and tech. And then I got a subtotal for what my husband and I would be splitting. And I divided all that by 2. Then I come down here and I come down here and I've got the Oh, that's right. Come down here and I've got my vehicle expenses and the meals and entertainment. If I happen to do fast food, I have allocated about $5 a week for that. I don't actually eat fast food that much anymore, so it's kind of like a cumulative thing. Twice a month seems about reasonable and realistic. And that would give me about $10. It might be a little bit more, and we can just pull that from the miscellaneous expenses if need be. The vehicle maintenance, again, like I said, I basically went through and I researched everything from tires to my driver's license to registration, oil changes, brakes, and other basic maintenance. If I had to do all of those things within a year time period, what would that cost me? And the answer was $24.65. And I took that amount basically and not quite halved it, because I really believe in making sure that I am good to go. 24.65. Yeah, I said $1,200 felt reasonable. And then that way I've got most of that taken care of and I wouldn't have to go too terribly long. Or if I was able to put something on a credit card, I would be able to pay it off pretty quickly because I've got this $100 a month going into this account. And I would just use that to pay on the credit card or whatever. Oh, sorry, 125. And then we've got the miscellaneous. This includes birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, hair appointments, clothes for the house and my son and myself, and a vacation fund for when we want to go to New Zealand. And, you know, after we finally get to New Zealand, maybe this vacation fund can be dropped down, but I know for a fact that it's going to cost at least $5,000 for us to go there. And really do want to make that happen. My healthcare is self-care fund is about $10,000, which includes a $2,000 basically savings account that I just put money into, and I want to get that to $4,000, and then it's just simply about maintaining it. So that's the thing about all of these savings accounts, is that it's about maintenance. So I'll do 166.67 until I have $4,000 in there. And once I have $4,000 in there, I just maintain that. So if I need to go get an MRI and that costs me $500, I pull $500 out. I've paid them, they're paid up. And then now I start to put that money back in here and get it back up to 4,000. And then once that happens, I can continue to put money in here, or I can use those funds elsewhere to fill up one of the other buckets that needs filling. Okay. For instance, the car bucket, or this bucket that's going to have $8,000 in it. And again, this is just fluid money that we use to go to the movies, to do anything else, you know, go out to dinner, whatever. In the vacation fund, again, we'll get it up to 8,000, and then we'll go to New Zealand and make a new goal at that point. And then let's see. And the student loan debt, once that's paid off, that $400 can go elsewhere. You know, $4,800 a year, it's going to take me a little while, but like 10 years to pay that off, because it's about $40,000. But if I get some of these other things handled, I can funnel that money in there. Or if we actually do have a tax return at some point, some of that money can go into these accounts as well. And let's see, and again, $3,000 to here, and then anything after $3,000, I can either continue to put that money into vehicle maintenance account, so that when I buy a new car, I have a really nice down payment, or I can use that to pay off the car that I'm currently paying for, and then all $300 of that money goes into this account. So you see how you once you start to pay off debt, you can start throwing money into different places, and that's really helpful. Or you reach a goal and you can kind of play with it from there and readjust what your needs are, while still maintaining the same quality of life. All right, so let's go back to business budget. I have each one of these separated out for for very specific reasons, but I also wanted to put it all together so that it was cohesive and made a lot more sense for me. So what we have here is all of these things in blue are on the home budget. So once I figure out how much I'm paying from the business itself, which is right here, it turned out to be $738.21 per month. Once I had those amounts, then I needed to go back into the home budget and remove that amount that was for business expenses. So we got a total of $2,743.45 per month is what I needed to survive. And then down here I've separated because some of these expenses go for both businesses and some are just for the business itself. And so my total for both businesses is $12,000 a year in expenses, and that amount got pulled down here. I knew that I needed the 32.9, which is basically 33,000. So I have a total needed of about $45,246 after taxes. So I found I used to just do basically a percentage, and I realized that I was kind of screwing myself over because I was pulling out way more than was necessary, or I was budgeting for way more than was necessary. You can certainly do that if you figure out exactly what the percentage is, and you could pull it out. However, and all you're going to do basically is have more money at the end of the year, more savings, more business savings or whatever and what have you, or a really nice cushion in case something crazy happens. However, I am to the point where I really wanted to be a little more specific about it and stop inflating my budget, and for a number of different reasons. So I knew that our state tax, all the tools that I found, none of them included state tax because it's so different depending on what state you're in. For Utah, it's really easy. It's a cool 5%. No matter how much you make, it's 5% of your income. So I was able to plug that in with a formula here. So I'm going to multiply what the taxable income is, which is basically the gross income minus the business expenses. So here's the gross income, here's the gross taxable income. So I take this dollar amount and I multiplied it by 5%, and that gave me $2,087 going to the state a year. And then the federal I got through this link, which if you came here via the blog post, you will have access to that tool as well. For everybody else, I'll leave it in the description box below. But what I did here is it's really cool. It's set up to help you out really nicely. I just plugged in that gross taxable income number and it gave me a number. It takes into consideration the fact that you are only using about 93%, 92.35% of your income. It also took into consideration everything else. So really handy. If you are married and filing jointly, you can plug in a couple of other things, or if you had a second job, you would plug that information as well. And then it gives you a fat number, which is super duper handy. And then it kind of goes through what all this is. This video is really only going to apply to you if you're a sole proprietor or you are a LLC that pays yourself via withdrawals, i.e. you are not considered a W-2 employee within your LLC. All right. So we've got all of these figures, and basically I've got this set up with a lot of figures, so I can actually change all of these numbers out and everything adjusts automatically, which is really nice. I love doing this sort of stuff. I will probably at some point create a simplified version of this spreadsheet, like just completely copy the document and put it in the description box below and allow you guys to kind of put your own stuff in here. But I felt like it was really complicated for me to just do that. So I wanted to show you my actual budget. I might get to the point, honestly, where I delete these two and I just adjust this one so that I'm putting these numbers into the appropriate place and then having the rest of this all down here. We'll see. I haven't decided on that yet. It would be a lot of reworking because technically the car payment for the bookkeeping business is only 9%. And the, here, I'll show you. It's only 9% of my total monthly allotment. And this one is about 38%. So there's a lot of little things in here that I would have to change. And that just feels kind of stressful at the moment. So I hope that this was helpful. If you guys would like a blank version of this, but with all of the calculations already figured out, please leave a comment below and I will get that put together. I just don't want to work on it and have nobody actually need it or want it. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you have an amazing day and I'll talk to you all later. See ya. Bye.